Sometimes you may feel like you have to pick between your own happiness and meeting the high expectations of your family. The main character in this moving story had to deal with the fact that she had to take care of her stubborn in-laws while her own family fell apart. Both the thing her husband told her and the way she dealt with it will shock and move you. The shocking event that changed their lives and the universal truth it teaches will remain hidden from you until the very end. Before we begin, I want to thank you for taking this moment for yourself. Be sure to stay until the end. I'll be sharing a small but powerful insight that's helped many people feel more balanced and hopeful. Kindly like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll always know when something new is waiting for you. And if you're listening now, please type, "I'm listening," with an open heart. It's a gentle way to connect, and I do read every message. Now let's begin. When they were younger, both of my in-laws worked hard as teachers in their hometowns. It was their life's work to teach kids in their quiet rural town. During the first half of their retirement, they could stay at home and do nothing. When they were at home together, they liked doing simple things together, like taking care of chicks. Their combined monthly pension of more than $10,000 was enough to cover their basic needs and give them a good life in the country. Even though they were happy living in the country, my mother-in-law often complained that she had never been to the city. She had secretly held on to that dream her whole life. At one point, my father-in-law heard her talking about her plans. She said she wanted to move to the small town in the country so that they could enjoy a change of scenery in their later years. My in-law's father did what his loving wife had asked him to do all the time they were married. He agreed with her completely because he knew how important this new adventure was to her. They quickly got a loan from family and bought a used 60-square-meter house in the county town. As they started a new part of their lives, they were happy and hopeful. Once they moved to the city, they quickly got used to city life. During the day, they did things together that made them happy and strengthened their relationship. They would meet new people every morning and play mahjong for hours at the local room. After dinner, they would go to the park with other older people to do some lively square dancing. They went to their new house to take a nap in the afternoon. The days went by slowly, but they were full of the simple pleasures of life and the happiness of being with each other. Just as they were getting ready to enjoy old age and relax, something terrible happened. Out of the blue, something terrible happened that messed up their hard-won efforts to live a peaceful life. They went shopping at a mall after moving to the city a year ago. My mother-in-law was crossing the street, but she wasn't quick enough to avoid getting hit by a truck. She was taken to the hospital right away and stayed there for more than 2 hours in the emergency room, but she could not be saved. My father-in-law was very sad when my mother-in-law died out of the blue. His face went from being hopeful to confused. There were boys in my in-laws' fam on my husband is the first child. Because he had trouble in school when he was younger, my husband depends on farming as his main source of income. When the other sons were done with college, they went to work in the provincial capital. The three brothers all agreed that they couldn't stand the thought of their old father living alone, so they let him choose which of their homes to live in. But the father and my father-in-law live by myself. I will not be going to any of your homes. He is very set in his ways and only wants to be with himself. Even though he is getting old, he doesn't want to depend on his kids and wants to keep living alone. He looked very upset when he learned that his three sons were talking about how to bring him into their homes. He didn't like the thought of leaving the house where he had lived for so many years and not being able to take care of himself. My middle son, my husband, tried to calm him down by telling him, "Dad, we only want to make sure you're safe. There won't be anyone to help you if something goes wrong if you live alone. We worry about you because we are your sons. To make sure you're safe, just pick one of our homes where you'll feel at home." With a determined look in his eyes, my father-in-law said, "Thank you for your concern, but I'm still healthy enough to take care of myself. I don't want to make anyone's life hard. I'll stay at home where I belong. I'd be happy if you could all come see me over the holidays. I don't need anything else." Even so, my husband still couldn't fully accept what his father had decided. He knew his dad could be stubborn, but his love for him and concern for his health were stronger than any anger. So every once in a while, my husband would go back to his dad's house to check on him and make sure everything was okay. On every visit, they were stubbornly against going. His dad would stand by the door and say, "You don't need to keep coming back here," in a firm but loving voice. "Go home, work, and spend time with your family. This place has everything I need. Do not bother yourself with my plight." Even though I was often very strict with my husband, that never stopped him. "Dad, I'm just stopping by to see how you're doing. If everything is fine, I'll be back," he would say with a smile. His son always made sure to bring something with him, like food, fruit, or groceries. But his father would always say, "I don't need any of this. Take it back with you. There's a lot in my pantry. I don't need anything else here." This routine went on for a while, a dance of love and independence, in which both my husband and his father showed their love for each other in their own unique ways. Neither was willing to fully give in, but they both knew the strong bond that linked them. Later, the family had a serious talk about what was going on and realized that things couldn't keep going the way they were. "Dad, our family is the poorest, but why don't you just come live with us?" my husband asked, as he could tell it was making me upset. "We'll be able to get by." His two brothers quickly agreed with him, telling him, "Yes, brother, you bring Dad to your place. We won't get in the way or cause any problems." The three brothers gave it some thought and decided that since my husband lived close to their father and could easily get to places, it would be best for him to take care of their elderly father. After being persuaded for a long time, my father-in-law finally agreed to the plan and he moved in with us. After that, things didn't get better. My husband's father agreed to live with us, but he was still stubborn and hard to please. We tried everything to make him happy, but he was never happy, and the stress in the house grew every day. It felt like we had to walk on eggshells around him because our home went from being peaceful to being oppressive. Because I love my husband so much and want the best for our marriage, I really wouldn't have wanted my father-in-law to live with us. You can let me know you are still watching this video by leaving the first comment below. If you like these stories, please do so. Thanks for your time. It was clear right away that this arrangement was heavy. My father-in-law hasn't paid a dime toward household costs since the day he moved in. He stopped paying all of his bills, including rent, water, electricity, and gas. This put all of the financial stress on us. It was up to me to provide everything they needed, from rice to oil to salt, and the weight of these duties got heavier and heavier. No matter how hard we tried, it seemed like nothing could make him happy. This put a huge amount of stress on our marriage and family life. There was a strict routine that the old man stuck to every day. Every night, he went to bed at the same time and ate at the same times. He didn't do any chores around the house. His actions were not just routine. He had a very short fuse and would not listen to my husband or me when we tried to give him advice or suggestions. One event made his stubbornness stand out very clearly. As a way to show respect and help, my son brought his grandfather a glass of water. He went up to her with the sincere intention of helping. The old man didn't even look at my father-in-law when he gave him the glass, though. "I didn't ask you to pour water," he said in a rude, direct voice. "Are you just being extra?" The mean comment shocked and hurt my son, and he stood there in stunned silence, not knowing what to say. I felt very sad when I saw the look of disappointment and confusion on his face. To try to solve this ongoing problem, my husband had a number of serious talks with his father, hoping to build a bridge and encourage further understanding. The old man's attitude didn't change, no matter what he did. My husband and I both felt helpless and defeated because of the stubbornness and lack of empathy that kept the situation tense and painful. After that day, my feelings toward my husband's father changed in a big way. It was hard for me to describe how uncomfortable and angry I felt, and it affected how I interacted with him. His stubbornness, which I might have understood better in the past, now seemed like an insult to me, making the gap between us even bigger. Even my father-in-law could tell that I was growing farther away and less patient. In response, he became more hostile and unwilling to work with her, which made things worse and made everyone unhappy. This uncomfortable dynamic lasted for a few months, and things at home got worse and worse. We were clearly uncomfortable with each other, and it seemed to show in everything we did. Even making small talk felt like a challenge. My husband finally took our son away for a few days, leaving me alone with my father-in-law. This arrangement, which was supposed to give a short break, made things worse. Without my husband's ability to calm things down in mediation, things with my father-in-law got even worse. The fact that he wouldn't work with me made me feel even more alone and frustrated. I asked my brother-in-law for help because I was feeling overwhelmed and didn't know how to handle the situation. I asked him if he could take my father-in-law to his own house for a few days so that he could get away from the busy place for a while. This plan was meant to give us both a break and give things time to settle down before my husband came back. My in-laws agreed to the plan, and I made plans for my father-in-law to take a break, hoping that it would help ease the tension and give us all a chance to get back on track. My sister-in-law's brother agreed to help and came over the next day to help move. He did get there, though, and found that my father-in-law did not want to leave where he was living. He insisted that he wouldn't think about moving until my husband got back. My brother-in-law had to leave without finishing the job because he had no other choice. When my husband got home, I told him what had happened. He didn't blame me for the trouble, which made me feel better. Instead, he asked me to be more patient with his dad. Even though he said lovely things, I couldn't get rid of the uncomfortable feeling. Things were getting more and more tense at home, and I was tired of it all. My husband wasn't verbally expressing his anger, but the constant stress and extra duties I had to take on made me feel overwhelmed and worn out. A sense of normalcy was getting harder to keep up in our house, and I was having a difficult time finding any relief from the growing stress. One day, when I was feeling stressed out about everything, I decided it was time to have an honest talk with my husband. We had a heart-to-heart talk, and I told you how I really felt. "Honey, I don't want to keep living with your dad," I told her. "It's getting too hard for me. What if I move out with our child?" The darkening of my husband's face showed that he was upset, but he didn't say anything, so I didn't know what he was thinking. The next day, my husband made plans to talk to my father-in-law on his own. I couldn't hear what they were talking about, but I could feel that something was different in the air. A few days later, my husband's father came up to us and told us he was going to move in with my brother-in-law. This development was a huge relief for me, and I felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. When my father-in-law left, the mood in our home changed forever. The tension that had been there all the time started to go away, and the atmosphere became much more calm. But this newfound peace also caused changes in my relationship with my husband that I didn't expect. Over time, I became more and more irritable with him, getting angry over small things. It seemed like nothing he did could make me happy, and I became less friendly with him. My husband's patience seemed to wear thin over time, and he started to show less tolerance for my growing dissatisfaction. This change made the gap between us bigger, which made it harder for us to talk to each other and our relationship more tense. I couldn't seem to find the harmony I had hoped for, and the emotional gap between us kept growing. One day, my husband unexpectedly turned to me and asked, "Wife, do you think this has helped anyone? People always treat you badly, but you haven't done anything nice for me or our child." Life isn't very fun for me, and it seems like you don't want me to be happy either." What he said hit me like a lightning strike. I was shocked and then hit with the painful truth. He was right. It hit me that I had been holding a deep-seated grudge against my in-laws ever since they moved in with us, but I hadn't fully understood or admitted it. This anger had been building, and no matter how hard I tried to put the blame on outside factors, I was becoming more and more unhappy with my husband. It was shocking when I saw things clearly. It occurred to me that my unhappiness wasn't just caused by outside factors or recent changes. It was also a result of how I had been handling my marriage and family life. Things didn't magically get better when my father-in-law left. I was still unhappy with my husband, and it was clear that I needed to change how I felt and behaved. If you are still watching this video with me and think these stories are helpful, please let me know in the second comment below. Thanks for your time. I began to think about myself after I realized this. I really thought about myself and asked myself if I was wrong. I was determined to make a difference, so I started to change how I thought about things and worked on showing my husband and our child more love and care. Our relationship was gradually improving. The mood at home started to improve, reminding us of the warmth and happiness we had in the beginning of our marriage. We still had disagreements, but they were settled faster, and our love and understanding for each other grew. The anger and dissatisfaction that had been taking over my life began to fade. I began to enjoy life more, and again find happiness in the way my family worked together. Like a weight had been lifted, I could see the good things in life better. As time went on, my husband became kinder, and our home felt like a place of peace and love again. During this journey, I learned that dealing with my problems and making positive changes in my life could not only improve my outlook, but also the health of my whole family. After some time, there was a clear change in how my father-in-law treated me. The coldness that had been a part of our interactions started to go away and was replaced by care and warmth. He would sometimes call to see how things were going at home, which showed that he wanted to get back in touch and fix our broken relationship. This change in our relationship made me think a lot about life and relationships in general. I learned that caring for and understanding each other is the key to a happy life. In the big picture, it became clear that life is not as hard as we make it out to be. Letting go of our fixed beliefs and focusing less on our own gains or losses is the key to true happiness. When we let go of our stubbornness and choose to understand how others feel, we can connect with them in a deeper, more meaningful way. We can live a happier, more peaceful life by loving the people in it and taking care of our relationships. Realizing this taught me that to live a good life, I need to do more than just accept other people. I need to interact with them in a way that shows compassion and understanding. Now that the story is over, we hope it has given you a new way to think about the good and bad parts of family relationships. We're grateful you spent this time with us. If you felt even a bit inspired, we warmly welcome you to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss what's coming next. Your presence matters. Here's something magical. Share your age in the comments. By doing so, you're telling the universe, I'm here, I'm growing, and I'm ready for more life. It's a small act with powerful energy. Take care, stay hopeful, and remember, your journey still has so much to offer.